I love this game. I also love greenmangaming.com. Can you get this game on greenmangaming.com? I don't think you can, actually. But you can get some other awesome games over on greenmangaming.com. Head down to the description below and only use our link. Headhunter here, and welcome back to the many homes of Hunter. Today we have one of my very favorite games, Starbound. And my homes here are. Well, I've logged over 1,000 hours in this game. Does that show 1,000 hours? Yes, 1,010 hours in this game. So obviously, these homes have got to be good, because I've lived here in these homes for well over a month. I like to for this series, I think I like to tell you how long I've been playing the game. Anyway, so we'll start here on board my ship. This is my home on the move. We'll start at the bridge. I like to have all the lights off in this game, specifically, not because I like things darker and edgier, but because it makes me, it lets me appreciate all of the blinking lights and all that stuff even more. It just gives off a very, like, cool, calming feeling, when you turn all the lights off, especially when everything's blue. I also, put a bit of logic behind it and say that it's night on our ship. Like, you would have a shipboard time, like, you can't have the lights on 24/7. You gotta go to bed at some point. So we turn all the lights off and call it night shipboard time. But this I actually put a fair bit of effort into making the whole ship work the way it does. Some of these buttons do other things, like this turns on the communication screen up here. That's the wiring. We'll get into that. Don't worry. Turns on the communication screen up here. This is supposed to be like a communication device. There's a whole bunch of those other ones, like these control panels will turn on all the displays around them. This is supposed to be like the captain's chair, but everyone's always sitting in this, and that turns that on. This turns on the one above it. This lever right here turns on the alarm system, and the alarm system actually, I hooked that up to alarms throughout the whole ship. Very proud of that one. And then there's this switch down here, which just turns off all the computers that are actually hooked up on the bridge. For like when we need to rig for silent running or something like that, we can just turn everything off so that, like, I don't know, if enemy ships can't pick up any power signatures. Anyway, we go back. We have the armory. This is where all the guns are stored, all the weapons and like personnel lockers. And yes, the name of the ship is the Calridian. You probably noticed the sign right there. Yeah, we just store all our guns here. This right here, the tech upgrade, and then like the idea behind this is that we figure out what we're doing. We come back here, get in the armory, grab our gear, pick our tech, get in the teleporter, and go. In the middle here, we have the workshop, which this one is, for all intents and purposes, function over fashion. Like, I tried to, like, place all of the, like, crafting, stations as close together as possible. Have a bit of storage in there. Like, this is raw material. This up here is, money storage and, dye storage and perfectly generic item storage. There's also a person that lives in here. There's some I tried to fit as many people into the ship as possible. Here he comes. This is a merchant that he just gave me an instrument. This is a merchant. He sells a couple of things that I can actually use sometimes. It helps out. It really does help out. Gonna head down. This is the lab. the laboratory. And you'll notice a couple of these planet things hanging up over here. I tried to fit the entire solar system set into the ship. There's a couple planets that are missing. The sun is in my room, which we'll get into. Up here we have, this is sort of a storage closet converted into a kind of makeshift living space for like a sudden crew member that we picked up. I'm like you have to give yourself write your own story in Starbound once you finish up the main story and like figure out what's going on. So that's what's going on back here. And we back here, very important room down here. We have. I'm gonna turn on my backpack lamp so that you guys can actually see what's going on. All right, where is that? Here it is. This is the med bay, and I can actually turn all those on real quick. Back here is engineering, because this is the master switch. Like every single thing on the ship is hooked into this switch, so we turn that on, and all the lights are on. Let there be light. People were probably going to complain about that. So anyway, we head back down here. This is the med bay, which is where all the sick and injured go after say a battle or a fight. The whole thing is supposed to be like a rebel ship, and we'll get into the whole rebel feeling later. Anyway, back here in the lab, just so you guys could see it in the light. And I need to repaint those stairs leading up to the storage closet, and I'll do that very soon, don't worry. We head to the very back here. This is the cargo bay, and I like to imagine there's a door in the back here so that people can get out. So sometimes I'll put like the hover bikes or something in here just to, you know, have fun. And yes, there is a castle set sitting here because like at night, like say I turn all the lights off, or like the master switch here, but there's a light switch down there that maybe I didn't hook it in. There's supposed to be a light switch down here that hooks up to the light above it, and then some of the crew members get together at night when it's night on the ship, and they play like Dungeons and Dragons around a dimly lit table. It's cozy. Trying to give off the feeling of it being very cozy. This is the Combat Information Center. I originally had the Death Star hologram in the middle here, but I swapped it out for this planet hologram because it made more sense. And it actually leaves a bit more room to move around in here. Makes it look a little bit less cluttered, and you can actually see the Protectorate logo in the back now, which it's a win-win. And yeah, and like these tiny platforms here are supposed to be like ladders that you climb up to reach the different floors. And like during combat, like this is where all the people are like manning the guns, because there are guns up there. We're still waiting for them to add space combat so we can figure out how that actually works. But yeah, we head back. This is the server room, which I'm considering replacing with something like a reactor core or something, because a server room at the very back here doesn't make much sense. We have the engineering room all the way down the bottom there. Might as well, it doesn't really make much sense, but like the whole idea here is that there's no lights in this room, so like we turn this on and it's like a dimly lit computer here. I like the angle at which this hits this. It doesn't make sense ergonomically or like in any way whatsoever, but I like it. It just kind of looks neat. Maybe for like penguins or something. I don't know. This right here, I got the idea off of Mass Effect 2 with their main like communication room in the back where they talk to the Elusive Man. But this one's just a great big computer. And like I thought that was like this is their long range communication room. It's in like an area of major traffic, but I really had nowhere else to put it. In the back here, we have like a pub, and we light a lantern every time somebody dies or something like that. Or I haven't really decided how the lanterns work. I have decided if they're all gonna be lit, and we extinguish one if somebody dies, or they're all gonna be unlit, and we light one of them if somebody dies. Like, each lantern has a name on it, and stuff like that. That's the whole concept behind the lanterns. Functionally, the lanterns are here so that we could get a Nova Kid on board, because that's what this thing right here is. That's a Nova Kid spawner. Here, give him a second. He's on his way. I think he is. There he is. Lumen. Lumen's on his way. But yeah, it's just supposed to be like a pub in the back with this statue that I didn't have any other place for. Just to look nice. This right here, this right, you know, I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit better. There we go. This right here is just sort of, I like to think of it as like a sort of main control table, but it's actually just a workstation. Anyway, we'll head up here. This is the main crew quarters, and I like to think that there aren't just 4 beds. It actually goes out, like these guys think in 2 dimensions, I'm kind of thinking in 3 dimensions. I like to think that there's more beds on this ship, and it's a bit wider of a ship. At least that's what I like to think. So yeah, this is just the main living quarters with just some accommodations made for personal taste. Like there's a coffee machine up there, some computers, some geodes, plushies, an owl clock, giant penguin costume. But I don't like to think of it as a penguin costume. It's just a giant penguin plush. And there's a radio right here for listening to music. It's worth noting I do have mods for this, and this switch right here turns on the lights in the living quarters during night, so that we could just like light this single room and like leave all the others dark. This over here, the shower room, and I'm particularly I shouldn't be as proud of it as I am, but I took the Apex curtains, like these standard issue curtains from Apex Apartments, and used them as shower curtains because they were tall enough and they looked like shower curtains. So I figured, why not? They work. It works. So yeah, just put up some shower heads and put up the curtains and a sink. Put a window right there, which probably shouldn't be there, like in terms of privacy, but we're in space, so unless there's some other passing ship, no one's gonna see. It's not terrible. I'm thinking. This is sort of like the rec room, which is why it's a mess. There's some seating arrangements. There's the jukebox. This is also where they cook meals here. There's the kitchen counter. There's a fridge over there. A bunch of posters. Then the news TV up there, which I using Starcheat. I brought that in. I brought in a lot of stuff using Starcheat, actually. I think a couple of the posters were brought in using Starcheat. I think the castle down in the cargo bay was brought in using Starcheat. Those definitely Starcheat. But the thing is, they didn't really change anything gameplay-wise, so I brought them in. It's all purely cosmetic. There's the monkey statue. Nice lava lamp. And I wish mine started up that easily. Alright, I accidentally locked this door. I keep this door on a lock so that people aren't coming into the captain's room constantly. But this is the captain's quarters. As you can see, I have the sun and earth in here, and the lights are off right now. Hold on. This is the light switch. My shuttle bed, my bedside dresser, my radio. That's another Starcheat thing that I brought in. My miniature figures, my music box up here, which playing my favorite song of the soundtrack, which was I forget what it was called. Atlas. Atlas was the name of the song. Yes. All right. So this up here is my like computer desk, my workstation. It's got like a sliding door for privacy in case I have company over, because like his girlfriend is on the ship. It's She's around here somewhere. I don't know where she is. Certain friends within our group will know who she is. My plant, my armor stand, which holds the armor that I use to complete the campaign. I like to do that every now and then, like display the armor that I wore during the campaign. Like, this is the armor they wore. It's just fun. There's a couple of other places in the Starbound that I work, like Ara Station and Ara Base. We'll start with the station and then work our way down to the planet. Ara Station just orbits the star, like it's by a very wide orbit, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out here. Graphics. There we go. All right, so this was the first room of the station. Nothing special. The whole place is still under construction, so I like to leave like workstations and stuff lying around. Like this place is still being built. Structurally, I think I'm done with it. Like, I'm not gonna add any more rooms, so I think I could show this off now. Let's head up. Up here we have a mech construction station, a mech deployment bay with a big old telescope, just huge telescope, actually, very big. We'll head up and we'll head back, and we actually have to go down. I tried to jury-rig that door together. I don't know how they do it on the actual in-game space station, so I just put some motion detectors on it, called it good. That up there is supposed to be like the main hangar bay. This is the cargo room. That person down there, Everin, with the white hair, it's, like the story that I've written in my head, she's a mechanical genius, so like she lives down here in that room directly below us. Very cluttered room, and she works over here on various mech modifications and parts and stuff like that. And then this is another deployment room over here. And we head over. She actually has an even better setup for Dungeons and Dragons, because I got ideas for this one. Let me zoom in. I got creative with this one a little bit. This one is like, we have the castle, obviously, but then there's a volcano, because that kind of looked like a volcano. So I star cheated that in. And then we have like this crystal here, like this is the Eye of Sauron or something, I don't know. Doesn't even really look like the Eye of Sauron, does it? I stacked the boxes up in here, like, as disorganized as I could make it. Like, I wanted it to look kind of cathartic, like it kind of looks like a great big warehouse, like a lot of different stuff is being stowed here, or something like that. I wanted it to look a little bit cathartic, and I think I pulled that off. There's a satellite in there as well. There'll be a couple more of those. I need to zoom out again. This is the main control room, like central command of the rebellion or something like that. And like up here where the commander sits, over here we got sort of a briefing room, all kinds of different workstations. I put some antennas and stuff on the outside, just like a main communications array hub kind of thing. Put some windows in, make it look. And I'm still working on this. I need to add more stuff into it, just like. And I'm trying to get make it so that I can put a whole bunch of people in here. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna do that yet. Anyway, actually, you know what? We'll go this way before we go down, because there is a thing over here. We can hit this button and call the tram. That'll be a minute, because this is a very, very, very long track. I tried to put an ad right there in the tunnel right there, because like there's civilians on this station and the rebellion's all like, we need you, sign up today, hey, sign up. This is just a sort of workstation, just keeping the station running, and then that goes up. It's trying to load stuff in. This is the main laboratory. where they work on pretty much everything. This right here, one of my favorite things ever. I don't know why they get hurt when they use that control panel. A couple of other science facilities over here. And of course, there's mech developmental research over here with another mech deployment station. You know, just science, all kinds of science. There's a whole bunch of signs up there, like do not enter, and there's that giant thing that they're researching because I have no idea what it is. And they might be playing with fire, and that's why there's a door there, so they can seal that door, seal off the rest of the station. This is the one guy who works in this area. Anyway, we head down. This is another long tunnel. Leads to another major section of the station. That up there is water storage. These are a couple of things that I'm still fiddling with. I haven't decided where these are going. There's an arcade machine down there, but I mainly just placed it down there so that I could try using it. Because the visual novel minigame in this glitches out really easily. This over here is onboard hospital with sort of an arrival bay right here, so that people can get in quick, drop off urgent care patients or something like that. We all know how urgent care goes. They do not go very quickly. Over here we have my best attempts to squeeze in a club, which didn't go over too tremendously well, but we can play the music. There's an elevator here, goes down to a cafeteria, which I need to upgrade that food table right there. This is the main civilian living quarters, and I haven't done anything down there yet, but I am working on it. I had to add in some steps because people kept falling down there, so now they can get out. But we head up. This is this one right here is finished. This block of the apartments are finished. And I'll do another video when the station is complete. But this right here is sort of like just a convenience store kind of thing. They could go here, they could buy their stuff, and they pay for it, head back up to their apartment. And I felt that it was kind of cozy, actually. I felt it was pretty cozy. So I put that in. We head back down. This over here is going to be another block with a couple of crate storage and stuff. I'm still working on it, and I need to diversify the beds a little bit. I haven't managed to do that very well. This room over here is very much function over fashion, again, because it's just all the workstations and stuff. But there is a satellite deployment bay over here that I tried to spruce it up just a little bit. And then there's this, which does nothing. I just tried to squeeze in as much as this stuff as I possibly could. There's another modded thing right there. That's the this right here. It's the Starbound crafting station. There's a couple of mod crafting stations. We saw some on the way down. That down there is probably going to be another block, but haven't decided if it's going to be that or recreational facilities. Because I don't think the club is going to be enough. I haven't really decided on that part yet. Anyway, we head down. As it keeps going down. This is sort of the VIP section, or the elite section. This over here is the commanding officer's quarters, which the door is locked again. I like to give myself a light switch. So there's so this lights the whole room. I gave myself a rainbow bed. It's very similar to my quarters back on the Calridian, actually, but very different. There's a 3D printer down here because I'm still working on the whole place. This right here is I like kind of put something together real quick just to see, like, just to kind of envision it in my head, just figure out what I'm doing. Which, it's still, the whole station is still a work in progress. I like to imagine myself putting up scaffolding and stuff everywhere. Like, hey, it's still under construction. This right here is just a workstation. Someone like works there. They got a standing console right there because it's healthier or something. I've actually thought about getting a standing desk. I just haven't decided. That's our station. Let's head down to the base, and then there's just a couple of more things that we can look at. Our base is for all intents is based off of. I like to think of it as a mix between Echo Base on Hoth and the Yavin 4 base, because like we have the tower here that goes above the trees, and the whole place is built inside of a forest and stuff like that. There's a farm up here which is just purely for functionality. And before we head down below, there's a couple things on the surface that we need to look at. This right here is a giant landing pad this was absolutely star cheated in. This is the ship from the opening, and I actually put down some platforms so you could get inside and walk around. Put some up on the roof so we could get up on the roof. It's usually raining on this planet, but not too bad. I put like this. I really liked. I like the little things. I put some stairs here so you could climb up the bit right there. Put some on the engines. Just a sort of a landing pad. Then we head back over. We'll actually head inside to get across this time. The area down there isn't done yet. The whole base isn't done yet. I'm still working on this stuff. Yes, that's loud. Okay. We'll use this gun. For the birds. This is a double door. Just to make sure it's absolutely secure. This right here, I sort of cobbled these together just because like they don't have a job board yet, so they just sort of paste them up on the wall here. This is like a wanted poster or some odd jobs, kind of like Craigslist ads or stuff like that, because they don't have the best communication network. We head over here, sort of a money pit over there. This is. We go up here. This is sort of like a surface bunker. People can come up here, shoot their guns out at attackers and stuff like that. We go over here. We have, I hit that lever, it opens the door, and we can send these crates out. Because that has to have a clear shot at the sky in order to use it. So we close that again. Just cover it up, keep the rain out, keep the attackers out. This is the armory. As you can tell from all the spears and stuff, you can head over. You can head over here. There's a shooting range. Vehicle bay up top, which I put in the guy from the outpost. So he's here. He sells all his stuff like some surfboards, hover bikes, mechs, submarines, the various other things that I hacked it, including Rob Reparo. He's here too. Some broken tanks. Anyway, we head outside. That door is actually hooked up to this small lamp out here, so the lights come on when you open the door. This over here is sort of like a lookout post, which is for the most part is exposed to the elements. But there's like a supply cabinet out here, a couple crates, a mini fridge, and like that lantern up there. But they like hang out, and people like hang out and just keep an eye on the horizon, see what's out there. There's a radio. I put a couple of logs in the tree here so that like you could climb up the tree. Like I was bored at the time, so I was just seeing what I could do. Couple logs. People live out here. Anyway, we head down. The first major room is probably the cafeteria, so we'll head there. Okay, so this is the cafeteria. I'm still trying to spruce the place up, make it look a little bit better. I didn't bother with the back walls or anything because I wanted it to look like this place was carved out of the ground and stuff like that, and they're tight on resources, so they put things together wherever they could. So yeah, that's the feeling I was going for. The Terra Mart, I know, only sells like Fluffalo eggs and pet houses and little red balls and stuff, but originally it sold food, and that was that's where I got the original idea to put the Terra Mart in the cafeteria, and I really liked the look of it, so I brought it back even though they don't sell food anymore. And then we have food storage back here, a couple shelves with canned food rations and stuff like that. There's we head down here. There's kind of a makeshift arcade with with Dancebound. What was it called? I think it's Dance Dance. Yeah, Dance Dance. It's called Dance Dance. And then it's like a prize counter. Just sort of a makeshift hodgepodge of arcades machines. Just like keep people's sanity, stuff like that. And over here we have sort of a better attempt at a club. And it's worth noting, this is built on a starter world, so we have the Explorer at the front of the mine. The whole place is built out of a mine. And she just sort of wandered down here and never left, but I like having her down here. It's fun. And I like the blinking lights down here and everything, and I'm going to take my backlight off so I can actually appreciate it a little bit more. But yeah, the blinking lights and everything, and once we actually like get the thing going, it... like the music's playing, and like the guys down here, they meet together for some like shady deals or stuff like that. That's kind of the feel I was going for. So yeah, just sort of a place to let loose. Yeah, over here we got this is sort of a hospital kind of place, but this one like. Hospitals need to be in like a sterile environment, so I actually made it out of metal. And there's going to be a couple of other parts of this place that are built out of metal as well, but I haven't actually constructed those yet. But we'll get to that later in the tour. But like these are like survival tanks. I got the idea off of giant Bacta tanks from Star Wars. They need to work on being able to go through trapdoors, don't they? Alright, we head down. This is sort of a containment facility, like, for prisoners of war, that they, like, sleep on this cold thing, and an interrogation table with a low-hanging light. That's, like, the stereotype. That's actually one of the newer rooms, actually. One of the newest rooms in this place. So just to show you that it's still under construction. Like, I built that, like, this year? I think January I built it. Let's head this way. It'll be easier to go this way than go the other way. This is the Combat Information Center, much like we have on the Calridian or on Ara Station. Just a whole hodgepodge of computers. I got the hologram of the solar system. I got the idea for the hologram of the solar system from my old base, which was a lot more compact. But I got this one. But this one had a much big open space because this is where the adult pop top was hanging out, as you can see from the grass and bushes and stuff down the bottom there. I took that out, coated it in metal, and just sort of started placing computers down. And I brought the hologram idea back from my old base, which was to put the start sheet the hologram in, and then make it projected by these hologram projectors up here and here. And the whole effect works out pretty good, and like the commanding officer can like stand here and give orders. So like I put a railing here for him to like lean over. And, like he has this like pointer stick. He's like this and over there and stuff like that, and go kill these guys. This one is I mentioned this back on the Calridian, the main communication hub. This is modeled after that, and this is like sort of the other end. They like communicate with the ship and receive orders through here and stuff like that. storage area and storage area slash rec room. I'm still using this 3D printer, which is why that's there. This down here is where like sort of the main computer hermit lives, where they like people come here if they need hacking done or stuff like that. So he has an enclosed room that's like actually built out of metal and stuff like that. He has like a security room down here and the security camera. Like someone knocks on the door, he goes to the security camera and he's like, state your business before I open the door, or stuff like that. We head up here. This is like a maiden living quarters, but with like accommodations for personal taste and stuff like that. A lot of these rooms are like built for like getting certain tenants. Like this one I built for the halotls, but I like tried to make it look a little bit more like practical. Like I put an actual metal floor down and put some. I actually like these beds, like the futons, stuff like that. Then there's this, for all intents and purposes, is the main room. All this stuff is sort of like cobbled together and like brought in, like for all intents and purposes, I wanted it to look kind of like they were roughing it, which I think I captured the feeling pretty okay. We head up here, Space Guy's room, just for the purpose of having a Space Guy room. We head up here and this is the cutesy room with my favorite bunny, because examining it, I say this pink bunny toy is so sickeningly cute I want to punch it. This is the alpaca room because I really wanted an alpaca. Another halotl room up here, and I do plan to expand upwards just a little further, because if we go too much further we'll breach the surface, which I don't want to do. We're trying to keep this place hidden. This is Florin room, and I'm not entirely sure where the Florin is. There they are. Hello. Oh, and they're a merchant too, so yeah, I can use that. A lot of the stuff in this base is for function. A lot of it is for fashion. There's a tent here, just people can live in there. And there's a couple of posters up on the walls and stuff. Like, hey, we gotta keep our sanity somehow. Some supplies on the wall there. There's the club back there. And now we head this way. And we're walking. There's like sort of a poker table right here, like just something you would pass on your way through, like a backroom poker game. But this is like up against the wall or something like that. There'll be like a couple guys playing poker. This right here is the crafting room, purely for function more than anything else. Then we hit the lake. I took the water out of the lake and replaced it with healing water. So like this is like the Rebellion's main supply of healing water. And without it, their medical supplies are useless. Or something like that, I don't know. I got the idea off of Bacta. You can look up what Bacta is. This over here, commanding officer's quarters, which I mainly just filled this with stuff that I really liked. But I have like my main computer desk up there, some pictures and stuff, my bed, my bedside table. I also, of course, I put in a light switch. It gets real dark in here, but I like have these tiny lamps for like bedside lighting or stuff like that. And then we have the dining area, or the eating area, with a fridge right there, my poker table, other stuff like that, my costume rack, some TVs, displays, stuff like that. Over here, I'm starting work on a smaller sort of living area, because like we're really trying to rough it, and like the whole idea is that it's very cramped in here and we don't have a lot of space. And we gotta stow our personnel where we can. That's why there's a couple of tents around as well. And this up here is a very special room for me. It may not look like anything special, but I call it the Burning Barrel, because like the whole concept behind it is every now and then when the going gets tough, they have a couple of wannabe musicians, and they gather around the burning barrel and they play their guitars because Starbound has a really, really good music system, and it actually has a very good community built around it. Okay, let me see if I can find. I got Attack on Titan. Not the right one. Here, this one's better. I really like the music system in Starbound, but that's what we're here for. So yeah, they gather around the burning barrel. They get whatever chairs they can. Sometimes they sit on these logs, or they have this table here. Sometimes they have the radio. There's a couple other things on this planet, but none of them are worth mentioning. Anyway, this world we actually use on our server for like the op squad and stuff. So there's actually a couple of other places, like the raised dusty base, which I will go find real quick. Psychotic Station isn't actually anything. This is the raised dusty base. The whole thing behind the raised dusty base was that there's a Nova Kid village just over the ridge, and they kept sending me to the raised dusty house to like find their friend or kill mercenaries or get back their stolen property. So eventually we just came over and built like a farm here, just something cozy, just something some place we could hang out. And we built a roof over it to get rid of all the sand during the sandstorms. Just a place for us to hang out, have some fun. And then we went over here. We dug into the mountain. But this place over here is mainly for function than anything else, but we tried to make it look fashionable. I didn't build the bit in the cave, though. I mainly just did the questing and did all the recruiting at the Dusty Village, which I actually have that marked, the Dusty Town. I called it Dusty Town. I like to name some of the towns I visit. So yeah, this is the Dusty Town where all these guys are ready to be recruited for crews and stuff. Anyway, I have a small apartment on a planet I've labeled Arcadia. It's not really worth mentioning. There's a couple of other places like the Dark Outpost, which is just built on a dark planet, which I think I need to put on my, yeah, I need to put on the backpack real quick. This is just sort of like a rebel listening outpost, and like they just station a guy here, and you just make sure there's nothing out there that's coming to kill him. There's also Outpost Milo, which I forget what this was. I don't think this was anything. Oh no, wait, no, this was just like a small collection of like Arctic buildings that I found, and just there's a safe house. But I think you have to walk a bit to get to the safe house. I could be wrong about that, though. Maybe not. Or maybe I didn't build it. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know where a lot of this stuff is because I've played for so long. Let me see. The stuff like refugee camps and Ridge Basin. This is just the end of every single one of these episodes, isn't it? Ah, yeah, Ridge Basin was something. I'm slowly converting this into like a makeshift base. So I put like generators on top and like an alarm bell up there, radio antennas, and like try to get the power back on and stuff like that. You know, nothing too crazy, but just something. Because like the whole thing behind what I'm going for in Starbound is like a struggling rebellion against the USCM, which I wanted to make into a sort of a Starbound series, but I don't know how I would have gone about doing that. I don't have as much freedom in this game as I do in Spore. So that would have to either be an animated series or like partial gameplay, partially pixel animation, or like a full anime. I haven't really decided, and it's probably just gonna be a project way down the line. But that is the many homes of Hunter in Starbound, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys liked any of them, let me know. I'll probably end up revisiting this when the space station is completed, or our base is completed. The Calridian, for all intents and purposes, is completed. But that'll do it for Starbound, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. I think we're gonna keep it 2D for a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, though.